Hey, welcome. I'm Jennifer Randall Young, and if you found this show, chances are you've been Googling things at 2 a.m. that you can't say out loud to anyone else. This is The Life with an Alcoholic, a show for the woman who's been holding everything together while somebody she loves is falling apart. We don't talk about the alcoholic here, we talk about you. I'm going to give you real tools, honest conversations, and frameworks that you can actually use, whether you're staying, leaving, or just trying to remember who you were before all of this. Let's get into today's episode.
If you are scared to stay and scared to leave, I want you to hear this before anything else. You do not have to decide the rest of your life today. You can stop forcing yourself to answer the biggest question while you are exhausted, overwhelmed, and still organizing every day around somebody else's drinking. There is a step between staying and leaving. And that step is learning how to find yourself again. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through what I call the third path. It's a way to move forward without pretending everything is fine and without pressuring yourself to make a decision that you're not quite ready to make yet. I'm Jennifer. I'm the creator of Life with an Alcoholic. I know exactly how consuming it can become to love somebody struggling with alcohol. And for years, I believed that with enough love, support, research, patience, and sacrifice, I could save my husband and the future that we had planned. Constantly directed towards him. What was he feeling? How much had he had? What might help? What would make things worse? Was this promise any different? Was this crisis finally the turning point? And when your life has revolved around questions like those, should I stay or should I leave? It can feel impossible to answer because the person trying to make that decision may no longer know what she wants, what she needs, or what she can actually trust. That does not mean that you are incapable of making a decision. It may mean that you need enough space from the chaos to actually hear yourself again. And that is the third path. It is not denial. It is not committing to stay. And it is not secretly planning to leave. It is choosing to stop making his choices the center of your inner life while you rebuild the clarity and capacity to make your own. So the framework that I used to find mine was clarity, identity, vision, plan, resources, and action. And I'm going to walk you through each one. So step one is clarity. Clarity begins with separating what you know from what you hope, fear, or have been promised. And this is not about deciding whether he is a good person. It is not about predicting whether he will recover. It is about seeing your present life as it is. So ask yourself, what patterns keep repeating? What happens after an apology? What responsibilities have quietly become mine? What subjects can we no longer discuss honestly? And what am I doing every day to prevent, hide, manage, recover from the drinking? And what has changed inside of me? So we need to keep our answers very factual. He never cares about us as an interpretation. He missed 3 family commitments this month after drinking is just an observation. Facts give you something solid to stand on. And that's what we're looking for here. You do not have to use those facts to make a final decision today or tomorrow or next week. You are simply ending the habit of erasing your own reality. So step 2 is identity. The next step is really remembering that you are a person too. You are not only the responder to somebody else's crisis. And this can sound really super simple, especially when there are children, bills, work, like real safety concerns involved. But identity is not a luxury. It's part of how you recover from the ability to choose. So ask yourself again, who was I before I'm managing all of this? What parts of myself have gone quiet? And what do I enjoy that has nothing to do whether he is having a good day? What's the one thing I have stopped doing because the drinking made my life smaller? Do not pressure yourself to rediscover your entire identity in a week. It won't happen. So choose one small act that belongs to you and only you. Take a walk without using it to think about him. Call somebody and talk about something other than drinking. Return to a book, take a class, go to a return to a routine or a person that, you know, feels like yourself. The goal is not to be a distraction. The goal is evidence that you still exist outside this problem. And step 3 is vision. Vision does not mean choosing a relationship outcome. For now, do not picture staying and do not picture leaving. Picture the qualities you want your life to contain. What would peace look like on an ordinary Tuesday? What would it feel like to trust your own decisions? What do you want your children to experience when they come home? How would you like to feel when your phone rings, when the front door opens, or when you make plans for the weekend? Maybe your vision includes honesty, stability, connection, privacy, financial security, rest, laughter, or the ability to make plans without fear. Those qualities get to become your compass, and you may eventually decide that they can be built inside of the relationship. You may decide that they can't. But first, you need a vision that is not limited to whatever his drinking allows. Step 4 is a plan. And a plan is not the same thing as an ultimatum. We need to make that very clear. A plan gives you options. So take a page, create 2 columns, and at the top of one column, write, if nothing changes. And at the top of the other one, write, meaningful change begins. Under if nothing changes, ask what support, boundaries, financial information, childcare, transportation, housing, knowledge, professional guidance, what would you need to protect your well being? All of that goes on that page. And under meaningful change begins, ask, what do you need in order to rebuild trust? Not sobriety, but trust. Would you need consistency over time, honest conversations, treatment, support for you, couple support, accountability without blaming you for consequences? What is it that you need? This exercise really matters because a promise made during crisis can feel like a complete plan when it's really not. So you're allowed to look for sustained actions instead of building your future around just tonight's word. Planning for is not betrayal, it's actually preparation. So, step 5 is resources. And one of the reasons women feel trapped in this situation is that every possible decision seems to require resources we just don't have at the moment. So, don't wait until a crisis to learn what resources exist. Build a support stack in areas. Here's the first one: emotional support. Who can listen without ordering you to stay or leave? And that might be a trusted friend, peer support community, therapist, coach, faith leader, or another safe person. The second one is practical information. What do you need to understand about your finances, insurance, important documents, housing, work, transportation, childcare? Gather all of that information, and making sure that you have it is not making a decision. It's just reducing the fear created by not knowing where all that stuff is. Third is professional guidance. Depending on your situation, this could include legal, medical, mental health, financial, addiction support, family support. The right resources really depend on the question you are trying to answer. Fourth is safety support. If there's an intimidation, coercion, threats, unsafe driving, weapons, physical violence, danger to anyone, individualized safety planning really matters. So use a trusted local domestic violence resource or emergency service when it is safe to do so. Alcohol does not have to be the only issue for you to deserve safety support. And learning about a resource does not obligate you to use it. It simply means fear is no longer your only source of information. Step 6 is action. And the final step is not make the big decision. It is take one action that belongs to you. Just one. You might write down the repeating pattern that you might open a bank account where appropriate. You may learn what documents you need, schedule an appointment, tell one trustworthy person the truth, or return to an activity that you abandoned that you love, or decide that you will no longer have a serious conversation while he has been drinking. Those are all action items. They don't have to be big. And a boundary might sound like, I'm not going to discuss our relationship when alcohol is involved. If the conversation starts, I will end it and revisit it when we are both able to participate clearly. That's a great boundary. A boundary does not say, it does not say, you are not allowed to drink. That is on him. That's not a boundary. It does not require him to agree that he has been drinking. It tells you what you will do in a situation that has repeatedly caused harm. When I began setting hard boundaries for myself, they did not instantly make life peaceful. In fact, they created more tension because I was disrupting a system that depended on me adapting to his drinking. But I learned something that changed me. His behavior did not change based on how completely I sacrificed myself. Putting him first did not give me control over his choices, and setting boundaries did not give me control over his choices either. The difference was that boundaries allowed me to stop placing my life on the same negative path that he was placing his on. And I began to resemble the woman that I had been before, by also becoming somebody new. That is what an action can do. And it may not change him, but it definitely changes your relationship with yourself. So there's a 2-minute reset you can do, and you can do it any time of the day. So if you can, take one breath and ask yourself these 4 questions. What do I know is true today? What do I need today? Not forever, just today. What is it within my control today? And what is one action I can take without waiting for him to understand, agree, apologize, or change? Write down your answers to that last question because it's a powerful one, and make one small enough change that you can actually do it. Clarity is not one dramatic moment. It is often the result of keeping one honest promise to yourself and then another, and then another, and then another. You may eventually decide to stay. You may decide to leave. You may not know yet. My role is not to choose for you. It is to remind you that you are still here. Your life matters, and you can begin creating a path forward. You know exactly where it ends, and only you. You are not lost, you are not alone, and you are not simply an enabler. You have been doing the best you can in an impossible situation. Now you can begin putting some of that energy back into yourself. So, if any of this resonated, this is why I created Life with an Alcoholic. Please go to my YouTube channel, and if you found me on YouTube, amazing. If you are listening to this podcast, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. There are a ton of resources in the notes section. You can find them in the description. And if this video gave you some breathing room, again, please subscribe and share it with somebody else who may need permission to not solve their whole life today or tonight or tomorrow or even next week. This video does not replace emergency, medical, legal, or mental health or safety support. If you or your children or anyone are in immediate danger, contact emergency services or a trusted local domestic violence resource where it is safe to do so. I'll see you next week.
That's a wrap on today's episode, and I hope something in there gave you a little more clarity or at least reminded you that you are not alone in this. If you're ready to go deeper, I want you to head over to thelifewith.com. That's where you'll find the app and everything you need to start reclaiming your life on your own timeline. And if this show has helped you, share it with somebody who needs it, because the woman who needs this most probably doesn't even know this show exists yet. I'll see you next Tuesday. Take care of yourself first.